Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's devlog videos, I'm going to talk about textures and loading models inside Vulkan. Let me start by showing you the STBI load function and the library that I use for loading textures inside the Vulkan tutorial that I follow. Here is the two libraries that I use for loading textures and loading models. The linking to the libraries will be in the description below. So basically I use STBI load to load the textures and load them inside the memory of the GPU, and some transferring between the CPU and GPU using these functions over here. Next thing that I made is for loading model using this function, and basically with tiny object library I load the simple cube that I made with Blender. And here is the interesting part, and how each information from the object, from the model, is mapped and accessed with these data structures for the vertices, indices, materials, shapes, attributes, and so on. The next part of this devlog video is about creating texture images, image view, sampler, and different vertex buffers, index buffer, uniform buffers. And when I get used to create them and appropriately destroying them, it is easy to understand loading model and applying textures by using the previously mentioned libraries. The next thing that I play with is the keyboard input and different keys for positioning the camera according to the pressed keys. So in this case, W for positioning minus with some value of Z, and when the S key is pressed, plus some value to position the Z's of the camera. And basically for the W key and S key, A and D key, depending on if they are repeated or pressed only one, and changing the position of the camera based on the pressed key. The next thing is when I update uniform buffer, there are some changes and calculations on the CPU side that are transferred to the GPU using these variables here. So basically this camera position is related with previously mentioned keyboard input. And let me show you the final result. So it's pretty simple. Some texture mapping on the cube. The cube is created easily with Blender, and it's rotating as the previous video. That's basically for now. Thank you for your attention. See you next time. Bye bye.